The Burial of the Dead. What a stunning title for an opening section. What a stunning title for the opening section of a poem. We are under the impression that everything begins with birth. But here, everything seems to begin with death. Not even with death, but with the burial of the dead. The title of the first section of The Wasteland is borrowed from the Book of Common Prayer, which was followed by most Anglican churches in relation to the interring of, in relation to the burial of dead bodies. The title also refers to the ritual burial of fertility gods in various pagan civilizations, including the civilizations of ancient Greece, ancient Rome, and ancient Egypt. In the last of these, for example, in ancient Egypt, for example, the fertility god Osiris was buried in an annual ritual. The title also refers to the 20 million men, women, and children who had been slaughtered in the First World War, which had concluded only in November 1918, especially to the 9.7 million military personnel who were killed in the war, many of whom did not get proper burials. Above all, the title refers to Western civilization, which at that point of time, from the poet's point of view, was dead and was in need of a burial. To top it off, the title refers to the burial of a person who had experienced death. And that person was T.S. Eliot. And that person was the poet who had, in personal terms, in psychological terms, in marital terms, in financial terms, in religious terms, in spiritual terms, experienced death. Before I start reading the section, I would like to point out that in the notes that he appended to The Wasteland, T.S. Eliot makes it clear that the most important figure in The Wasteland is Tiresias. Tiresias is more a spectator than a character, but he is the most important figure in The Wasteland, and he is one of the devices used by the poet to provide the wasteland with a comprehensive unity. Tiresias is like the chorus in Greek drama. It is said at the chorus in Greek drama that it can foresee the tragedy but cannot prevent it. It can comprehend the tragedy but cannot solve it. This is perfectly true of Tiresias. Tiresias is a constant presence in the wasteland from the first line to the last line, though his presence is frequently unstated. Tiresias is old. Tiresias is ailing. Tiresias is blind. But Tiresias is immortal. Tiresias may not have sight, but he has insight. He cannot see what is in front of him, but he can see what is going to happen. He is bisexual. He is every man and every woman. April is the cruelest month, breeding lilacs out of the dead land, mixing memory and desire, stirring dull roots with spring rain. April is the cruelest month. Probably the most famous opening line in the entire gamut of 20th century Anglo American literature. April is the cruelest month. By itself, it does not mean much. The line has to be placed in conjunction with another famous line, with another famous opening line, the opening line of the Canterbury Tales of Geoffrey Chaucer. This is how the prologue to the Canterbury Tales, this is how the general prologue begins. I quote, "When that April with his showers sooty, the draught of March hath pierced to the rooty." Unquote. Geoffrey Chaucer begins the prologue to the Canterbury Tales by lavishing praise on the month of April, whose rains, whose warm western wind restored life, restored fertility to the land and its inhabitants. In Chaucer, April is spring. In Chaucer, April is spring in all its glory. On the other hand, in Eliot, April is the cruelest month. Much water has flowed in the Thames since the Middle Ages, since the 14th century, since the days of Chaucer. And the world of Chaucer no longer exists.